Hello my loves, how are you? I'm sure you've heard lots of advice and rules, and depending on where you are, they're all different, or a lot of them are very similar, on how to cope with this COVID-19. Call it what you want. Corona, quarantine, isolation, lockdown. I like to call it a tower moment for the world, because basically that's what we're going through. Anyway, whatever you call it, it's far from normal. It's far from what any of us know as normal. So, I've been watching the big picture of it all, and my philosophy is that the universe has sent us all to our rooms to think about what we've done and decide when we can come out if we're going to be nice. And I kind of like that idea, because that it's tried to warn us. You know, it's tried to warn us, and we haven't listened, and we haven't listened, and we haven't listened. So it's kind of like, well, you know, you brought this on yourself. So, you know, you're in trouble now. I want you to go and think about what you've done, and think about how you treat other people and all of that. So the other thing I've been looking at are the steps that we've been given. And bear with me through these, because they're very accurate and they're very good, but they can also mean a lot of different things. And that's where I found it really interesting. If we look further into the steps we've been given on how to cope, we could take it a lot further and get a lot more from it. And that's where I'm at today. So if you're interested in making the best of this and creating a much better future for yourself through this experience, then you're right with me. If you like it, feel free to share it, subscribe, or just click like. That'd be great. And if you've got any comments, share. I will say one thing though. My channel's called The Light Path. So if you have a comment, I'm good with clarity. I'm good with a discussion. If you want to troll, if you want to just be awful, then you're not going to get a response. That's it. So you're kind of wasting your time, and I don't have a care factor about people who want to be nasty or awful. Yeah, so, you know, whatever. I like positive growth stuff. Let's all grow. Anyway, let's get on to it. The first step, obviously, is protect yourself. Here's a whiteboard I prepared earlier on my wardrobe door. So, I had something else. Anyway, we'll move on. The obvious is wash your hands, wear gloves, wear a mask. Don't go into areas where there is a high risk. And clean your surfaces, like doorknobs and light switches and stuff like that. Makes sense, right? Protect yourself. Be sensible. But then if you look a bit deeper, there are so many other ways that we can protect ourselves, and a few of these have come up, but I just want to go over them again. There's a massive overexposure at the moment about the virus, about what's happening in the world, about how it's affecting us in the world, and about how serious it is. And it is. I'm not downplaying this at all, because we all know it's a shit situation for everybody. But the media, while it's great for information, that's all we're getting at the moment. That is all we're getting is COVID-19, coronavirus, deaths, cases, countries, situations. It's everywhere. I mean, in Australia, there's a whole dedicated channel to it now. You can't escape it. So one of the things we really need to do is protect ourselves from that overstimulation, that overload of information, of dread and negativity and fatalism, because there's more going on than that. There's so much more in the world than this, and it's not that if anyone writes in and says to me that I'm not taking it seriously or I'm downplaying it, well then you're missing the point, because I'm not. It's vitally important that we don't just focus on that. So my suggestion is, in this situation, check the news every morning and every night. Find out what you need to know. If there's any updates, has there been any developments, and then turn it off. Go about your day. One thing I will say though is, don't check first thing out of bed or last thing before you go to sleep. Because if you check it first thing out of bed, your whole day's fucked. If you check it last thing before you go to bed, that's what you're going to go to bed thinking about. So protect yourself by getting up, stretching, going outside. If you get up early, watch the sunrise. Have a good breakfast. Talk to your kids. Give your dog a pat. You know, do normal, everyday, brush your teeth, go to the toilet, whatever you would do. And do something nice for yourself first thing in the morning. Then catch up on your news. Then spend your rest of your day doing whatever you're doing. We'll get to that. And then, you know, while the kids are out doing something else, check in with the news again, and then let it go. Just let it rest then. You are keeping up to date. You are protecting yourself by not being overloaded. And you're also protecting yourself by keeping your mood in a stable condition. The other way to protect yourself is be very careful what sources you listen to. As far as COVID goes, I have limited my sources to the World Health Organization, the CDC, and our our state government health, as well as our federal health. That to me it's reliable sources, it's up to date, and we're not going to get any misinformation from that. I hope. As little as possible, let's put it that way. We're not going to get Auntie Joan's fantastic recipe for a mask made out of a G-string with honey on it to stop the germs getting through. You know, that kind of wonderful stuff that you hear. The last thing is the best way to protect yourself, number one, is just to remember that what's happening isn't your life. What is happening out there, what is happening to the people around you, what is happening to your career or your finances or your job, that's not your life. This is, Barney, no. Good boy, sit down. That's part of my life. It's a part of your life. It's not your whole life. And sometimes we get so caught up in this stuff that it becomes overwhelming and all encompassing. And we need to remember that this isn't our life. Our life is what we choose to make it in whatever situation we're given. So, you know, it's kind of like what I was saying. We can choose to watch the news all day, every day, and be swamped in this miasma of misery and doom. Or we can recognize it for what it is, but still look around at our lives. You know, look around at your life. Now's your chance. And live your life. Don't wait. Protect yourself by continuing to live, because there will be something on the other end of this. And if you've wasted all this time just in stasis, waiting to be told what you can or can't do next, then imagine all the things you could have done in this time. Just have a little think on that. So, bear with me, I'm just going through my notes. Number 2, here's some good advice. This is where we get good stuff. Okay. Number 2. Go inside. My camera's on a weird angle, so I hope you can read my writing. Now, obviously, we know what this means. Go inside, close your doors, don't let anyone in. And if they cough, spray them from the outside. This is the best use of your time, and not the go inside part. Now is your time to go inside. Think about it. Not only have we been forced home, but we have literally been forced to go inside. We've lost most of our distractions. When people don't want to look at themselves, which is, you know, pretty well most people. When you don't want to look at yourself and your ugly bits, or the bits that make you feel stuff that you don't want to feel, we go to work, we go shopping, we catch up with friends, we go out, we party, we go to the gym, we go to the club, we gamble, we do all sorts of things outside. Or we live virtually outside by living on the computer or gaming or anything to get away from what's here. Now's your chance to meet yourself. Say hi. Hi, how you going? We have this perfect opportunity to really stop running. Just stop running. Turn around and say, I'm not going to run anymore. And I'm going to take a deep breath and feel what I'm feeling. Now, the trick with this is there's no right and wrong feeling. Ta-da! Who'd have thought it? No, I know. All those people who told you not to feel this thing or that thing, don't get angry, don't raise your voice, don't laugh so loud, you know, quieten down. Stop playing so loud in there. Stop having so much fun. You know, don't cry. There's nothing to cry about. Really? All those things that have told you that what you were feeling was wrong was a great big lie. Holy shit, right? Holy shitballs. it was a great big lie. Because when you were told that, that was the person trying to deal with their own feelings. And you were making them uncomfortable, so they tried to stop you feeling what you were feeling. Now's your chance to feel whatever you want because you're inside. You don't have to wear the mask anymore. You can take it off. Meet some feelings. Introduce yourself. Say hi. Oh my God, what is that? I feel kind of uncomfortable and twitchy. Like when I get bored or frustrated, it feels itchy, like nothing's right. There's just something not right. To me, that is boredom or frustration. See how you go. Then, this is like, and the thing about being on your own is you can be as weird as you want and nobody can judge you because nobody's there. It's great. And I've done this myself, so I don't care if I get judged because it worked for me. So, you know, have at it, whatever. My favourite thing in this, in number 2, is, obviously I've written a whole heap of notes. Have a meeting with your bits. I know, sounds really eek. Sit down, and have an introduction round with all your parts that we separate. Hi, I'm the body. I breathe the oxygen and I pump the blood that gets to the mind to help the mind live. And we get to translate feelings and stuff for the other bits. Okay? And then you go, hi, I'm the mind. I analyze stuff. I tell the body what to do, most of the body. And I tell it what to do. And I have 2 sides, one that I listen to most of the time, and the other one that is kind of like the archives where I file stuff and I don't remember most of it that's there. But if I really need to, I could dig until I found it. And I'm the buffer between the outside and the inside. I'm the kind of the filter system. That's my role. And the other one goes, hi, I'm the feelings. I'm the part that gets ignored a bit or gets confused. I'm the part where when someone does something, I get hurt, but the mind tries to work out why, or sometimes it doesn't. So I kind of rely on the mind, thank you mind, to, you know, let me have a voice or not. Give it a go. What have you got to lose? Seriously, what have you got to lose? A half hour of Seinfeld repeats? Nothing. You've got nothing to lose. If nothing happens, cool. Nothing's happened. If you get in touch with parts of yourself that you've completely forgotten about or completely ignored because you were so busy getting away from them, then this can't hurt. It does come with a warning though. It's no good. It will do you no good if you are not honest with yourself. You have to be prepared to be honest with yourself. And that can be really hard. That can be really hard. When you discover that something someone did to you actually really hurt, and you've been spending your whole life denying it and pretending it didn't, but it really did. And you get to feel that for the first time in a long time. It can be very, very scary. And you will have the strong desire to run away as quickly as possible, because that's what you've always done. Now's the time to sit down and introduce yourself to it and say, okay, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to run anymore. I'm going to be okay with feeling whatever I'm going to feel. I won't die. Nobody is around to judge me. But if I need someone for support, there is a whole global community out there who will support me included. No more running. Go inside. Number 3. Moving right on. What colour am I up to? This is kind of linked with number 2. Isolate yourself. Now, on the outside, yes, go inside and stay away from other people. Because if you've got it, that way you can't give it to them. And if they've got it, they can't give it to you. Right. Got the outside bits covered. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Southern Hemisphere is coming into autumn. Well, we've just hit autumn. And when I talk about isolating yourself, I talk about separating yourself from the outside parts, from the labels, from the things you've been taught that you are. You weren't born being a chiropractor. You weren't born lazy. You were a baby. You weren't born lazy. You were told you were lazy. You weren't born stupid. You were told you were stupid. You weren't born perfect. You were told you were perfect. You know, who are we with all those, without all those labels? So coming back to autumn, think of the leaves as labels, okay? The tree is yourself. That's really who you are. And all the leaves are labels. And what happens when they all fall down? The tree looks dead, doesn't it? And recently we've had fires. And not just did the leaves burn off, but the whole tree looked dead, burnt to a crisp, nothing left. When that happens, and what's happening now, takes away all your identity labels, it's absolutely terrifying. Trust me, I did this 5 years ago. I discovered this 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I got sick. And it took 3 years for them to finally diagnose me. And within those 3 years, everything that I thought made me me was chipped away, it was taken away. So the first thing that went was my job. So I was no longer employed, and with that I was no longer self-sufficient, reliable, responsible, all of those things. This is the head noise, bear in mind. Then I couldn't be the daughter that I was. I was the lifter, the carrier, the strong one, the helper person. I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't be reliable because I never knew what was going to happen at any given moment. So I couldn't say, sure, I'll do that, knowing that I could. I couldn't drive my manual car anymore, which was absolutely devastating to me because I was such a mad manual car driver. Stick shift. And I couldn't do that anymore. So that was something small was devastating to me. I had to stop living independently, so I was no longer independent. All those things that got taken away, my financial security, everything got taken away, and I was left thinking, I don't know who I am. Who am I without all this stuff, without being all these things? Who the hell am I? And it took me a long time to dig through all that and to go through all that. And it can be a real grieving process. So this is probably where a lot of you will be at the moment, is that whole, what the hell, I don't know who I am anymore. I've got no job. My home is insecure at the moment. No financial backing. I'm not a teacher. I know that I'm not a teacher, and yet I've got to teach my kids. So am I going to be a bad mother instead of a reliable mother? All of these questions, you know, Father, I can't go out to work anymore. I've lost my job. Am I no longer a provider? Am I no longer a reliable husband? All of these things, that this one's massive. Number 3 is big. I am going to do individual videos on these points. If you're interested, please let me know if you are. If you'd like more in depth into these things, I would love to get into it with you. So now, that's the heavy one. That one's going to take you some time, so go gently with yourself on that one. Number 4 is give it time. Now, on the global level, on the external level, wherever you are, we don't know when this is going to end. We don't know, you know, how long it's going to take. We don't know how long we're going to be isolated. We don't know anything, basically. We can hope, but we don't know. And that level of uncertainty can be terrifying for the majority of people. Even the Zen people, one of my favourite things is, you know, I think it was Buddha. If you think you're Zen, go and spend a week with your family. That'll make you realise. Or stand in line for something. This at the moment will press your buttons. I had to go to Services New South Wales. In Australia, we have big, you know, government centres. And I had to go. Now, because of the virus, they weren't letting people inside. You had to go in one at a time. Now, I can't stand up for very long, and the queue was, you know, already making my legs start to shudder. So I walked back to my car and I came out, and I have a fold-out chair that I take with me. So I joined the queue in my fold-out picnic chair. And when it was time to go in, I folded it up and used it as a cane. Now, those things can drive you absolutely stark raving mad, and let all the feelings of rage and anger that you have been controlling so well out. These things right now, like going to the supermarket and there being no toilet paper because people have stockpiled it. God only knows why. I hope nobody gets a diarrhea virus because the chemist will sell out of nasal spray. Moving on. I have to credit Facebook with that one because I saw it on there. Anyway, giving it time. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with everybody else. Understand now is the time to learn understanding and empathy. Understand that you are not the only person going through this. There is no mind's worse than yours. There is no scale in this. We are all on a level playing field. And that I kind of like. I really kind of like that we've all been kind of as close to possible leveled. So with give it time, be gentle with yourself. There's something you need to know, and that is the 5 stages of grief. If you know this, excellent, go for you. There are 5 stages of grief, and don't think that you're exempt. We are all grieving in our own way because our whole foundation is now sand. There are 5 stages of grief. The first one is denial. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine. We're fine. We won't catch it. Nobody here has been overseas. We're not going to catch it. Denial. The second stage is bargaining. And that is, if I don't, that's my guard dog. He's not very good when you bargain with him. That's my daughter telling him not to bark. So you've got bargaining. Dear God, if you stop my family getting sick, I will go to church every Sunday. Bargaining. If you, to the doctor, if you put my child in the most priority care, I'll pay your golf fees for a year. Bargaining. The third stage is anger. Fist fights in the supermarkets over toilet paper. Anger. Closely related to fear. Then you've got depression, which is just absolute sorrow you feel when you've lost something and you have no control over it. There is nothing you can do to change the situation. There is nothing you can do to rewind the clock. This is the depression stage. And then there's the acceptance stage. So they're the 5 stages of grief. And whether you like to admit it or not, you're going through one of them. How you handle that, you now have the chance to learn how to do it in a healthy way. So remember when you're taking your time that it took a long time to become who you are. A lot of years, a lot of exposure, a lot of reinforcement of the beliefs you had grown and developed. So it's going to take some time to undo that, break them down, find out which ones work for you and which ones don't, and really grow into the new you. It's going to take some time. In fact, I'm resigned for the rest of my life. I'm in this for life and happy to be so. because I'm a much healthier, nicer person, and I like myself a lot more after having done all this work. And still going, by the way, it doesn't end, but it's better than denial. The biggest suggestion I can make is find a guide, find a leader, a mentor, somebody who has been through it. It doesn't have to be in real person. It can be a psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, coach. It can be an author. I started reading voraciously, and I was never a reader until I got into this, and then I bought every self-help book I could get my hands on. You can look on the internet. My God, YouTube has so many wonderful teachers out there, great speakers on anything you could possibly want to know. And I'll be doing some stuff as well. I mean, there's no limit to the information you can find if you want it. If you get curious, which is the most important thing, get curious. Get curious about yourself. Why do I think like this? Why is that important to me? What, when they said that, why did I instantly want to cry? What was it about that made me, like, seriously want to cry? And if it hurt that much, what was it about that it hurt? Then you go back to the honesty point I was saying before. You've got to be honest. Okay. So that's number 4. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And number 5, look at that. It's going to be like a school session. We're nearly done. Number 5, red pen for this one. It's the most important. Because this is kind of like the summary and the homework all in one. Choose what happens next. You get to choose what happens next. Here's the thing. There are things we have control over and things that we don't. So when I say choose what happens next, I should really put choose what happens for you next. We can't control this. Duh. We can try. We can try and find a vaccine or a cure or make more ventilators or whatever we can do. We can try our fucking best and our hardest to really come through this as best as possible. But we can't control it. What we can do is work on ourselves. So think about how you want it to be when you come out of this. I mean, this is like, for most of us, this is like a clean slate. This is a do-over of our lives. I'm calling mine Act 2. I'm cutting Act 1 off at December 2019, and I'm literally starting a book, a journal, and a big diary, Act 2 of my life, because this is such a monumental shake up of lives as we know it. You can't but not draw a line in between these two halves. It's a do-over. You think about it. Your job's gone. Please don't cry just yet. Bear with me. Your job's gone. Nothing's certain. All the things that you thought made you who you are kind of like either being torn away or seriously put through the recycling machine to come out in a different format that you haven't designed yet. You get to choose. If you left high school and you got told you had to be a teacher and you hate teaching, guess what? You can change it. If you went through and was forced to do accounting because you were good with numbers and it was a steady job according to your parents, and you want to be a flower arranger, guess what? Now's your chance. Now's your chance. You get to design what you do next. And the other thing is, my loves, you have plenty of time at the moment to research your ass off. Learn whatever you want to learn. Dip your toe in the water. Find out. You know, if you've always dreamed about being I don't know, a nail artist, order some stuff online and practice. Follow the steps on YouTube. Somebody's done it somewhere. Practice. And if it's something that really gets you going, decide to do an online course. Change your life. You have the opportunity to change your life. And anyone out there sitting saying, you don't know, you're not me, you don't know my situation, well, guess what? That's right, I don't. But you don't know mine either. And you don't know what I've changed in my life. And there are so many other people out there who've done it. You're not unique in that way. If other people can do it, so can you. Another thing with choosing what happens next, my loves, is you are the chooser in everything. Everything. When we say to ourselves, there's nothing I can do about it, we are choosing for ourselves that there's nothing we can do about it. We are powerless. I, for one, am not going to give my power away that easily. I tend to say, watch me. Whatever you say, you are choosing. If you choose that I'm going to make the absolute best of this that I possibly can, that is your choice. If I'm going to use this opportunity to flip my life on its head and strip out everything that wasn't working and replace it with stuff that's going to make my life live and actually breathe rather than just exist and on an automated schedule of rotation. If you want to get off the treadmill, now's your chance. I'm going to leave you with this. You'll see pictures all over the news and on newspapers and everywhere, social media everywhere. But on the bigger scale, you are the photographer of your entire life. You choose what you focus on. You choose what you zoom in on. You choose what you blur, and you choose what you leave out. You are the photographer, and you choose the mood of what you're seeing as well. Is it in black and white? Is it blurry? Is it bright and vibrant colours? Are the colours highlighted? You are the controller of what you see. Nobody else. If you don't like what you're looking at, change the focus. Brighten the colour. Turn your head and look at something beautiful. You are behind the lens, my loves. So when I say choose what happens next, I mean, what are you going to video next? What are you going to record next? Now's your chance. You've got a clean slate. You've got a clean slate. This is your chance. And it starts with meeting yourself. And on that note, hi. It's lovely to meet you. Thank you for joining me. And I hope to see you very, very soon. Stay safe, my loves. Stay well. I love you lots. Sending you all lots of love. I always sign off with a hug and a great big kiss.